the duality of wanting simply to smell the flowers, but also to
Blow
kill,
shit up.
but also to kill Megatron and smash.
Smash flowers.
Smash. There
Win,
you go.
win,
Smash flower. Smell
smash.
them and then smash them.
Yeah, win-win.
Or
So
or
he's like,
smash them and then smell them, because then the scent will be more potent.
hold that. Yeah, it doesn't last as long. So die, die young, die young and fast, and too fast, too furious, and Rhinox bad good guy now. I don't know.
Tank or free or smell Rhinox.
Too much Energon.
Is one of them a squid?
Cheetor, what have you done?
Blah 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 blah, Beast Wars once and for all.
It's like throw her into the compactor. Well, you don't need this anymore.
Why do you always talk to yourself?
I simply have a penchant for intelligent conversation.
Yeah,
Say Calabar! No! Say Calabar! No! No! Not that!
evening, Chirapteras. Welcome to episode 61 of Too Much Energon, the Lasercomb podcast where we talk about Beast Wars shit and talk shit about Beast Wars. I'm one of your hosts, Christopher Siege.
Salutations. I am NeoCal. Right outside my window is middle-aged white woman walking their dog, trying to get them to poo central.
As middle-aged white women are wont to do, yeah.
Yeah, they're little dogs. And they take so much interest in, like, I see this all the time. I didn't even know what I was looking at the first time I saw it. They bend down, like all the way down, like put their head almost down to like where the grass is,
Right.
and like stare under their dog as if they're inspecting them for parasites or whatever. And I'm like, what are you doing? Is it that hard to see when your dog's done its business? And it's happened hundreds of times since I've been here that I'm just at peace with it. I guess that's how you walk your dog. You like for 15 minutes, just like lead them around like little grass and just like move around and like stare at them.
Well, for a fun little bit of Christopher Siege trivia for all the listeners out there, I am neither a middle-aged white woman, nor have I ever owned a dog. I do not currently own a dog, and I've never had a dog.
I have no insight into this behavior.
No. In fact, I have negative insight into the behavior, if that's even possible.
So, man's best friend, a dog is not, at least to you.
At least not this man. No. Unless he was a Maximal.
Yes.
Yes.
Other than Silverbolt, is there a dog Maximal?
Wolfang. The toy, Wolfang.
Yeah.
My favorite. My
like
favorite
the design of Wolfang.
Yeah, my favorite non-show Beast Wars toy. Had one when I was a kid, reacquired one recently.
Yeah. The shark.
Cyber Shark.
Cyber Shark. Yeah, he's pretty fucking rad too.
Yeah, he was my second favorite. He was my number 2 favorite.
But he's no Wolfang. Wolfang's a pretty, what is he, gray and blue? Or
Yeah,
like aqua or something? Yeah, he's
gray, blue,
he's
and
slick
black
design.
Yeah, he's pretty rad. His engineering was later used for another figure, Canine, which I always thought was just a redeco, but I got taken to task on the Cybertron.com forums recently because I referred to Canine as simply a redeco of Wolfang. And so many people jumped on me being like, no, the figure is much larger. Like the like the head sculpt is different, the chest sculpt is different, like just the basic engineering of how he transforms is the same. And I'm like,
Well,
well,
excuse me.
well, excuse me, princess. No, I think I just responded, well, today I learned.
Yeah.
What else are you going to say to that? Because they did announce recently that K9, there's going to be new, or this year they released 4 reissues of classic Beast Wars figures. They re-released T-Rex, Megatron, Gorilla Optimus Primal, Cheetor, and Rat Trap. And they announced actually, no, I don't think it's even been announced. It was just product listings leaked online. But there's going to be a second wave of Beast Wars reissues sometime next year that's going to include Tarantula Man, Terrorsaur, my boy Terrorsaur,
Sweet.
Cyber Shark, the aforementioned Cyber Shark, and K9.
Huh.
Oh wait, no, I'm dumb. No, it's not Cyber Shark. It's Tarantula. No, I said Tarantulas.
Tarantula Man,
Yeah,
Cyber Shark, Canine, and Pterosaur.
yeah. What the fuck is wrong with me? I am listeners, I am kind of tired. I am sleep and food deprived at the moment, so I'm not firing on all cylinders. And Cal seems to be the ongoing saga of the
That
suburban
dog is like
housewife.
attacking someone. Have you ever heard a little dog like bark as fast as it can? Not like super loud or intimidating, but just so fast. Well, it's over. Somebody must have stomped it. Anyways,
Well, fortunately, it isn't audible, or unfortunately,
the end of that, Maximo. Yes.
I don't know. So I made a surprising discovery today.
Uh-oh.
When I was can't even remember how I came across this, but I found out that the theme song to Beast Machines, Fat Planet, Fat with a PH, which I remember seeing in the credits, and it always made me chuckle. It's actually a licensed song. This isn't just a track by like the dude Robert Buckley, I think that's his name, who like composes the music for this and all the other mainframe shows at the time. It's not one of his, no. Now, Fat Planet is actually a song by the English electronic group Left Field, taken from their album Rhythm and Stealth, released in 1999. So the album came out, and the song became... Oh, actually... Wow, yeah. So the album came out in September 1999, which is when Beast Machines came out. So they must have had a deal in place like prior to make...
That's usually how it happens, right?
Yeah, to make the song Fat Planet the theme song to Beast Machines.
Cool.
I
like it. It gets stuck in my head.
Even
though it's just doom 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 doom.
According to Wikipedia, the album was recorded in August 1999 and was released on September 20th, 1999. That is quite a quick turnaround.
Wait, yeah.
A month.
What the
heck? They composed the album and then released it a month later. I guess when you are house techno, you don't need much post-production time.
No, I guess they don't fuck around.
I guess not. But yeah, I was just surprised that it was a licensed track.
Makes sense. It feels different.
Apparently, it's been in a bunch of other things. It was used in some commercials for Guinness at the time. It was featured on the soundtrack of EA Sports F1 2000, which is a video game. For anyone who didn't figure that out. And a couple other things. I remember been on a whole bunch of other things, but Wikipedia is failing me right now.
Wikipedia, man. Like anybody can just edit that. It's not a
Yeah.
reliable source. It's always conspiracy people that say that too.
Yeah, I know. I remember like getting into it with people about that many times over the years, and then eventually I just stopped caring. But
Yeah.
my general attitude was always that I feel like the number of people who want truthful information out there outweighs the people, the shitlords, and the people who want to mislead.
Or who genuinely have like alt theories to alternative facts. Have you heard that term?
Oh yeah, of course. I was actually a big fan of Sean Spicer during the like what was it like 6 months that he was Trump's press secretary. To be clear, listeners, fuck Donald Trump. I will never say anything positive about the man or his presidency. I found Sean Spicer as his press secretary very entertaining because he was clearly not cut out for the job.
That's fair.
So usually like press conferences involving him were unintentionally hilarious because he would get like choked up
Well,
at
so many of the people in office clearly had no place like doing public speaking or representing, and wild. Wild. It's hard to even believe the last 4 years even existed.
yeah. Yeah, if it wasn't clear at any point prior to this, listeners, we here at Lasercomb HQ are very anti-Trump. We're just gonna throw
That's
that.
the funny thing. So we're Canadian. Anyone listening that doesn't know that, we're not even anti-Republican. We're just anti-Trump specifically.
Yeah.
And except one very odd friend I have, almost everyone, especially a few like conservative friends I have, like they really hate. Because imagine that you're like, hey, I'm a Republican, or in Canada, conservative. I have these values. They're important to me, blah, blah, blah. I'm not willing to fight people over it, but hey. And your rep is a giant fucking goofball that just like has no idea what he's doing, makes all the worst choices, lies through his teeth, and then everyone around you seems to love it. If you're intelligent, you might not like that.
Yeah, it's also really strange too how this like loudmouth billionaire who's gone bankrupt like many times, but also like kind of like had a golden parachute like right from the get-go in life. It's just anyway, it's weird how this guy was able to tap into like rural blue-collar America and think that he represented them.
And
I don't
Hillary
understand.
represents the corporations. Trump's he's an do you know what? Here's what it is. It's funny that and I'm like, but Trump
the first
is corporation.
floor of Trump Tower is literally made of fucking gold. Literally gold. Like I read up about this a while ago. The fucking first floor of the building is made of gold.
Is that like a good luck thing?
No, it's
a decadence thing.
It's completely decadence. But like, how does the man who has a building named after him, which is his HQ, basically, it's his fucking stronghold.
Yeah.
With the first floor made entirely of gold. How the fuck does that man become like the spokesman for blue collar America?
So we'll drop this. Anybody like listening and being like, oh my God, I heard this for the last 4 years. I don't want to hear it anymore. This is Canada takes, right? These are Canada takes.
I don't even know why I got charged up about this all of a sudden.
I didn't know that there was any part of the building made of gold. So today I learned. It's almost the same reason Arnold Schwarzenegger was the governor of California for so long.
Right.
I think that there's this, here's this person that's going to shake up the status quo. he's like different and an oddball, and he's better because he's not a politician. He's better because he's not like a professional, right? And he's good with money. He has that TV show. And so people are so just disenfranchised about how terrible existence is that they're like, fuck it. This insane like orange dude, let's see what happens. What's the worst that can happen? And we got to see.
Yeah, we got to find out what the worst that could happen was.
True proof we are in the darkest dimension.
Yeah.
We are in the dimension that the Maximals found themselves when they woke up.
Yeah. Speaking of the Maximals, we're gonna drop the politics now, I think. So people, this is episode 61 of Too Much Energon, where we are talking about the 10th episode of Beast Machines, season 1, episode 10, Survivor. It originally aired.
Who could it be?
Who could it be now?
Spoilers. It's just Nightscream.
Or is it Rhinox? Or is it 343 Guilty Spark?
I'm gonna say not the last one.
So yeah, it originally aired on November 27th, 1999. Let's jump into the episode.
Yeah.
So speaking of Guilty Spark, it opens in Megatron's auditorium.
The Megadome. Why haven't we been calling it that?
I don't know, but that's its name now. Welcome to the Megadome.
How have we not? We've been doing this 10 episodes and we haven't called it the Megadome?
Well, it's like, it took me how many episodes to dub Optimus Gary Primal?
All of Beast Wars seasons 1 through 3.
It took me so long to dub Megatron's Crystal Ball as his Crystal Ball.
I think we got the dinner table down pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just another one of those things. Yeah, the Megadome. I like it.
The Megadome. And he's smacking around Guilty Spark.
Yeah, so he's pissed off because all attempts to purge his beast mode from his body have failed. And not only are they failing, and he says this as he transforms back to Dragontron, not only are they failing, they're actually, like, the beast mode comes back stronger than ever.
Yeah. Is that because it can heal itself? Because if we recall, listeners, in Beast Wars, when they're in their beast mode, they do automatic internal repairs.
Well, and there's going to be something that comes up later on in the episode that is kind of the inverse of that. But at the very end of the episode, Guilty Spark has a theory, has a hypothesis as to why the treatment isn't working. But we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah. So what's the gist? Guilty Spark is like hovering around and he's like, "My lord, it seems that we need to what is it? We need to test."
So Guilty Spark is like, I've spent so long, all of my like programming processes or directives have been focused on purging your beast form from you. But look over here, look at Batboy over here. He was able to convert to a beast mode using a process that we don't understand. A process, like, he was able to convert to a beast mode when there are no beast mode, like no beasts around.
There's no animals on the planet, bro.
No animals around. He's like, so, and I think this is fucking stupid, to be honest. He's like, so, if I'm able to examine him and I can learn how he does that, I might be able to do the opposite of that and thus turn you into a completely technological creature.
10-year-old me, I was older than 10, but like 10-year-old me would have been like, sounds like science.
Yep.
But adult me is, I'm like, is there
That
any practical application of that in that I can think of? And I can't.
no, it's it's a fucking stupid plan. Speaking of stupid plans, at the beginning of this scene, Guilty Spark suggested just moving Megatron Spark to a new body, which I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, just do it. Like you put Rhinox in Tankor, you put other Sparks into the Viacon Generals. Like, just do that. And he's like, and leave my Spark unprotected for even a nanosecond? Preposterous.
Right. And it's
Yeah.
like, dude, nobody's
Yeah, nobody's around. Like,
Guilty Spark doesn't have a spark. He's purely just an AI. And you programmed him to be loyal to you. Well,
Yeah.
what's the issue here?
I've since come to realize that his name is actually the diagnostic drone, but I like calling
I
him
only
Guilty.
realized it this episode.
I think it was the last episode that I realized it, but whatever. He's Guilty Spark.
Yeah. So what's going on? We cut to the Viacons coming in, and he's like, well, Guilty Spark, go with the Viacon generals and retrieve me Nightscream.
Yeah. And Jetstorm is like, they all like one by one.
They all say like a quip.
A quip, and they take a bow and are
Yeah.
like basically like, yes, mighty Megatron, and then they fuck off one
Party
by one.
on. And then Jet.
But then Tankor doesn't. He just looks,
stands there in silence.
he just stands there in silence, and him and Megatron look sternly at one another, and without like adjusting his posture or anything, Tankor just like wheels around, turns around and wheels away. And I'm like, I'm kind of digging this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
I dig it.
like Tankor isn't Tankor anymore. Tankor is
Evil Rhinox.
Evil Rhinox is back, and Evil Rhinox is very clearly like, yeah, I'm not gonna fucking bow to you, you fucking moron.
At one point in the episode, he's like, hey, Megatron's got the right idea, but the problem with his plan is that he's in charge.
Yeah.
And he's kind of an idiot.
Yeah. The
And
problem
I'm like,
with Megatron's plan is Megatron.
Yeah. I think that's
I'm
when
like,
he's talking to Guilty Spark later.
Yeah.
Right, with the Maximals, yeah.
Yeah, so next scene, we're at the wherever the Maximals are hiding this week, and Optimus,
Back of a big ice cream truck.
back of a big Nightscream truck.
Yeah, the Nightscream man. And Rat Boy is like trying to like Matrix jack his brain.
Yeah, so Optimus says basically that, oh, if Rat Trap could uncover Rhinox's memories hidden within Tankor, imagine like we could learn so much more if we did that with you. And Nightscream's basically just like,
Okay.
fuck the past. Like, looking back to the past, like that doesn't do anybody any good. I only look forward.
Bro.
Yeah, being a friggin' emo kid.
And what happens there? They're like, we need to figure out how you were able to get a beast mode.
Yeah.
And he says, much to everyone's first knowledge, as far as I can tell, duh, all of Cybertronians have like an automatic DNA sequencer built in.
Yeah.
And the rest
And
of the
I'm
Maximals
like,
are like,
wait, what? And like, that's what the Maximal's reaction was, and that was my reaction too. I'm like, wait, what? You have your own like,
yeah.
you have your own like personal like DNA sequencer?
And Optimus is like, what?
And Nightscream says, I'm paraphrasing, but Nightscream basically says that every Cybertronian now has DNA sequencers built into them because they nixed the stasis pod program after the last major upgrade.
Yeah.
And
And
he's
Rat
like,
Trap's like, well, excuse us for
he's
being
like, get with the times, guys.
get with the times, oldies.
And
Okay, boomer. And
yeah. And Rat Trap's like, well, yeah, well, I guess it's easy to miss out on things when you're spending like however long fighting the Beast Wars.
You're welcome too.
Yeah, and
Damn
then
youngsters.
and then Nightscream like makes like a shitty comment, like
maybe
something...
if you guys had done better, we wouldn't be in this situation.
Yeah,
you little shit.
And Rat Trap actually flips out and like tackles him. And is like listen here, you fucking punk.
Listen here, you little shit.
Like, I lost friends during the Beast Wars. And like, I like to think he's talking about Dinobot specifically.
Dinobot, but primarily, yeah. And but if you think about it,
Tigatron and Air Razor.
Tigatron, Air Razor. Oh,
yeah.
At least Dinobot got to go down on his terms like a warrior, but I won't get into Tigerhawk.
Yeah, the less we've spoken about it at length on this show in the past.
In fact, in our special anniversary,
the Too Much Energon 25th anniversary special, Too Much Energon episode 57,
where we have special guests. We do a merry friend kill kind of thing. Yes, I'm pretty sure I killed Tigerhawk.
Yeah, I think I killed Quick Strike.
If you didn't, I was going to change mine to Quick Strike.
So Cheetor like
breaks him up,
gets Rat Trap off of him, and I can't remember what Cheetor says, but Cheetor is like, hey, this isn't the time, or yada yada.
Yeah.
Black Arachnia like diffuses the situation by being like, hey, we've all lost friends, okay? It's fine, let's not fight about this.
Let's chill.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Primal's kind of like, hey, digging up the past is painful for everyone. Let's not lose our focus and start fighting each other.
Yeah, and then Nightscream like kind of reiterates his stance of like, man, fuck the past. Looking back to the past, like, never did me any good.
Yeah, and I'm the only one that matters.
Only moving forward. That's what matters. And I'm the only one who survived, so obviously I did the right thing. And then Optimus is like, but the Oracle said the seeds of the future lie buried in the past. And I was expecting that to be like some like metaphorical like shit, but this show goes really on the nose with it.
I thought that was a big fucking metaphor. It is not.
It is not.
In fact, what's the opposite of a metaphor? Like a literal. It's so literal, it kind of hurt. Which we find out this episode. Oh my god, because that's constantly like a thing that he's saying the Oracle is telling him in all of these episodes. The seeds to the future lie buried in the past.
Right. And
and boy, yeah, okay.
So Nightscream fucks off, and Rat Trap reveals that he swiped a literal like seed off of Nightscream with his tail.
Mm-hmm.
And Nightscream,
the seed from that
from that tree that made that tree a few episodes back that made them go all like
ape shit.
Bestial rotundo, essentially. Um, and then Nightscream gets all pissy, and he's like, "Hey, that's from my tree, guys. You can't have any."
Like you went into my room and got that. Like, I guess there's no such thing as privacy in this family. And he slams the door.
Yeah. And Cheetor raises the issue of like, wait a second, like, hold on there. That tree made you guys go all beast rotundo. Maybe we shouldn't fuck around with it. And Gary Primal's
Don't worry about it.
And Gary Primal's like, but Cheetor, the Oracle said the seeds of the future lie buried in the past. Come on, let's go plant that tree.
For some reason, Nightscream's throwing a tantrum and screaming. Did I miss something? Why is he just screaming? Is that explained?
No, I think he's just pissy about everything that's going on.
Yeah, Primal says, "Hey, we need to stay in our beast mode."
Okay, no. So they're going underground to plant this seed, to plant the tree, and they come across like a wall, and Nightscream can use his like supersonic scream to shatter it.
Yeah.
And Optimus is like, okay, but like keep it in beast mode. We don't want to attract attention. And so he blows up the wall, and wouldn't you know it, the fucking Viacons show up.
And indeed, the little Guilty Spark bot is like, I can hear supersonic vibrations. So that's how they're tracking the bat.
Yeah, I think he says echolocation sensors. Which, I mean, I guess, like, if you're looking for a bat beast former.
But
yeah,
echolocation is the method in which bats can see the sound.
Yeah.
You can't... That's like having a smell detector. I can detect when people are smelling. That doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. But like,
if he had said like supersonic vibrations, that's, I guess I inserted that in my head because it made more sense.
Yeah. But yeah, so he Guilty Spark has a gizmo to like
sense the bat,
become the bat, feel the bat,
feel the bat, touch the bat.
Touch the bat. Show me where on the bat. Show me where on the doll the bat touched you.
So, is this the first time the Viacons actually kick the Maximal's butt?
Well, so the Viacon generals and Guilty Spark and some drones like burst their way in, and as they burst in, there's a quick series of shots of the Maximals like making reaction faces.
Yeah.
I think Cheetor's is my favorite.
Yeah, and they're all snarling because they see Rhinox. He's very cat-like.
He is, yeah. Where is it on Tubi? What's the timestamp?
About 7 minutes in.
About 6:45.
A little bit before that. Oh, I see. You're talking about when Jetstorm is flying over them?
Yeah. I said when the Viacons first burst into this scene.
At 6:57, they all have another reaction montage. And Cheetor like snarls.
Okay.
A lot of animal faces on this show, people. We enjoy them. Give us a break.
Yeah, still not as many as Beast Wars, though.
That's true. So what? I am transformed. Primal shoots his tummy gun. Shit blows up. He gets buried.
Yeah, some back and forth ensue. Tankor is kind of the focus quickly becomes the focus of this battle. So he's got Nightscream, Cheetor, and Rat Trap on him. Nightscream tries taking him out with a like sonic blast, and then both Cheetor and Rat Trap like leap onto either of his
This is
arms.
fucking dumb.
And there's this hilarious like shot of him like waving his arms around trying to shake them off, and but like Rat Trap is like quickly like trying to stab him with his tail,
like in his shoulder joint or
yeah
something.
yeah, it's just it's so funny looking.
And he looks, and there's a rat on his left arm, and then a cat lands on his right arm, and he he looks at Cheetor, and indeed Cheetor is like trying to stop his saw blade. Tankor has a saw hand sometimes.
And then
it's clear they don't want to hurt him.
Nightscream charges toward him, and then like
actually says "Hiya." Nightscream goes "Hiya," and Tankor just punches him out of the air.
Hey, martial arts were the hypest shit in 1999.
That's fair.
Yeah, Tankor like sends him off flying, and then
sends
Tankor,
all of them off flying.
And that he sends Nightscream off first, and then like chucks Cheetor and Rat Trap forward, and then he uses his like as they're like sailing through the air in like a very like anime kind of way, like that like anime like quick like motion blur background.
That's the thumbnail. 850 when Tankor shoots a blast at them and they're all flying through the air. You see Cheetor and all of their faces perfectly.
I'm looking. That is pretty funny. I think that might be a little too busy for a.
That's fair. It's funny, but it's too busy. Because they're not fully in frame.
Yeah, I already have a shot in mind. Coming up later.
So seemingly the Vehicons have won. And they can end the Cybertron wars once and for all. But this is okay, so I used to say this a lot. This is perplexing shit. Not in that I don't understand it, in that it doesn't make any sense. All of the Maximals wake up and Nightscream's gone.
And all the Maximals are in beast mode. And so they clearly passed out because reasons?
Oh, they were defeated in battle.
I guess, sure. But the camera, like the last thing we see is we see Nightscream, Cheetor, and Rat Trap flying through the air, and then they get shot by Tankor. Tank knocks. By Tank knocks. And the screen just flashes white, and then
presumably they're hit and knocked out.
And then it cuts back to like all of them on the ground in beast mode. But like Black Arachnia is also there, knocked out, and Gary Primal's there, knocked out.
Gary Primal was buried by Jetstorm, or rocks fell on him. He passed out and he transformed back into beast mode earlier. He was the first one knocked out.
Right, but it's just like the resolution to that battle is even more vague than our description of the action scenes to this show.
Well, that's my point. They were all presumably knocked out, and the Vehicons won, but because their orders were to take Nightscream alive. And I'm just like, well, wait a second. They could have took Nightscream and just slagged the other Maximals, and came back and been like, Megatron, you will not guess what we just did. You captured Nightscream? Better. We took out the other Maximals as well. And he'd be like, what?
He actually has a what moment later on that kind of made me chuckle. Yeah, what's to stop like one of them from like going over and like and just putting their foot on like the neck of
double tapping all of them in the head. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's very much a cartoon, and defeating them, the bad guys, just means knocking them out or making them retreat.
Yeah.
So whenever the good guys lose, it's because they're knocked out or they retreat. Bad guys are knocked out and retreat. Both sides have had the opportunity to wipe the others out multiple times, and I feel like that didn't exist on Beast Wars. It's a very anime-ish thing.
Yeah. Like
Because
the
something
the
always
Predic-
came up.
the Predacons would always try, but then it's like, Energon field buildup. Convert back to beast mode.
Predacons, retreat.
Yeah.
Something would always come up.
Yeah, something would always come up that would prevent the battle from being fatal. Whereas like this right here, it's like there's literally no reason for them to, or not even kill them, like take them back too. And be like, and Jetstorm can be like, look, Megatron, I brought those stinking Maximals. They got fresh, ripe sparks just ready to be extracted by your mighty excellence. Ha ha!
No, please. Thank me later.
But not too later.
He sounds like Ace Ventura to me.
But not too later, if you know what I'm saying, darling.
Basically, I want time with the Xbox.
Yeah.
You have 60 seconds with my right hand. There's a throwback.
And fortunately for you, it is not a T-Rex head any longer. No.
Fortunately for you. Unfortunately for you, it is no longer a T-Rex head. Oh. So they're dragging Nightscream away down a dark
and he's
tunnel.
Yeah, and he's in like
a weird chamber.
Tank Nox is leading the charge. Yeah, and he's in this weird like chamber.
Yeah, it's hovering behind them, and it's revealed that this is a restoration chamber.
Yeah, it's a restoration chamber, but it's not doing anything to Nightscream, who is back in beast mode.
Yeah, and they're like, "Hey," Jetstorm's like, "Oh, did you forget to juice the batteries before we left?" And it's revealed, no, it's working fine. Nightscream isn't affected by it.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Yes. What's up with that?
So,
indeed, he wakes up and tries to fly away.
Yeah, he wakes up. Guilty Spark like opens up the, presumably to like test a theory, but he opens up the chamber, and Nightscream like flies out and transforms, and immediately like one of the Viacon generals, so I think it's Jetstorm or
somebody shoots him. Yeah.
Somebody shoots him, and he flies back in, and
oof.
Yeah, oof. Yeah, and the chamber is closed again, and he's still in robot form, and Guilty Spark starts examining him, and he's like, huh, interesting. When he's in robot form, his healing factor, his natural healing factor of his beast form is being accelerated. So this is kind of the inverse of Beast Wars. Which is
so they heal
cool.
automatically in both forms, but it's highly accelerated when he's in his robot form.
Yeah. Whereas in Beast Wars,
the opposite was true.
Yeah, the opposite was true. I guess they didn't heal in robot form, or if they did, it took a long time, or they needed a CR chamber.
Yeah, it was more efficient to transform into beast mode to do internal repairs.
Yeah, when they were in beast mode, their beast forms would conduct internal repairs. But here it's the opposite. So.
Yeah. Or even faster than that were their CR chambers.
Yeah.
Or the Healy tank. Because apparently you can be like pieces of metal, and that shit'll put you back together in a half hour.
Yeah, the hot tub heal machine.
Yeah.
Overall, it seemed like the hot tub heal machine on the dark side was much more effective than the CR chambers on the Axelon.
Definitely.
Because
you had to spend like a day in the CR chamber if you were really fucked up in the Maximal ship.
Yeah, whereas like Waspinator or Pterosaur could literally just be in pieces, and they put them in there and then bring them out.
Yeah, and they're good to get blown up again in the next battle.
Yeah.
So there's like a creepy scene with the drone, Guilty Spark guy, where he's like, yes, oh, you are quite interesting specimen, aren't you? Show me what makes you tick. I'm surprised he didn't like lick his face or something weird.
Yeah, and then Nightscream, it gets even creepier because Nightscream does
Right?
this thing. He's like, "Oh, let me like it's just like this." And then he like reaches his
And
hand out and like just one hand and like puts it around almost in like I don't know, man. The way when you like go to like kiss someone and you like just put like one like caress like one hand around their head and like you kind of like pull them toward you. That's kind of what it looks
he
like.
pulls Guilty Spark towards him because he's like, oh, we need to see what makes you tick. And he pulls out like a little zapping device. And Night Scream's like, okay, geez, I'll talk. And so he puts away his little like shocky claw thing. And he's like, there's really not much to it.
Yeah, as he reaches his
And I'm
hand
like,
out
what
like
is
I just
happening
described.
here? Is there a relationship building between this
Yeah,
little
are they
shitty
gonna
little
start
drone,
are they gonna start
diagnostic
like
drone?
making out? But no, apparently he just like bit him and drained his energy or something.
He screams at him and blows up the chamber,
Oh, okay. That's what happened.
or he bites him. It's
I don't
weird.
know.
The chamber blows up.
Yeah, it's kind of unclear. And
Yeah,
so he escapes and Jetstorm goes
and he
after
gets away.
him and yeah, he gets away. Jetstorm goes after him. The
Night Scream's OP. He can just scream and blow shit up and then get away.
and the other Maximals are like wandering through these same corridors looking for him, and they're not having a lot of success. So Rat Trap like transforms to do like infrared mode or something, and
Yeah,
Optimus is like, "Keep it brief."
Primal is like, he's blocking my spark probe, which means he's alive. And I'm like,
Why would he be
so
doing that?
because he's an edgy asshole this episode, right? He is
Yeah,
the little shit.
and he's even like he converts to or yeah he's in robot mode, like his fucking god awful looking robot
Ghastly,
mode.
even.
I hate it so much. He's in his awful robot mode, flying through these tunnels, being chased by Jetstorm. And he even says at one point, he's like, "Man, I forgot how great it was to be like flying by myself, not having to worry about having to deal with other
Flying
people,
solo.
flying solo, looking out for number one." And I'm like,
I could suck my own dick. Life would be perfect. You can't get away from me, Sky Rat. And Jetstorm follows him, and
yeah,
you do some fighty bullshit.
some fighty bullshit. Back at back at the
wreckage.
the wreckage. Yeah, there you go. The wreckage of where Nightscream escaped from the CR chamber.
Tankor.
Yeah, Guilty
Tank
Spark.
knocks.
Yeah, Guilty Spark is fucked up. Like he's under a bunch of rubble. And what does he say exactly? Oh, he commands Tankor to go after the Maximals, and he's like, "That's an order." And
And he's like, listen
Tank
here, you little shit.
Tanknox picks him up and starts speaking in Rhinox voice. He's like, I think it's time to reevaluate who's giving the orders here. I'm paraphrasing, but
Yeah,
it's like,
he's clutching him in his giant Tankor hand, and
Guilty Spark is like, "Oh, it's you," so he just knows immediately that it's Rhinox.
And I like how he's like, in return, he's like, back when I was just Tankor, my vocabulary was limited to Tankor smash.
Yeah, and I like that it even switched back to the guy who was doing the voice of Tankor before, because it was clearly a different voice actor.
I never thought about that. I never checked the credits. But yeah, what's the gist of it here? He's like, but when the Maximals have woken up my memories, but I became not quite the Maximal that I was. Neither am I the Viacon Megatron programmed.
Yeah. So around here, I think is where what I'm gonna make the show art for this
Yeah,
episode.
it's pretty trippy. I love
Yeah,
it.
the shot
The
of the
duality.
spark. Yeah. Probably
The
gonna make that.
duality of a Cybertronian. So there's a really cool like montage of him talking about it's showing Megatron like commanding the Viacons back when they took over Cybertron. And he says, you know, him unifying everybody was actually a great plan.
You know what wasn't great about his plan though was Megatron.
Megatron. His plan is perfect except for one thing. Megatron. Cybertron requires a leader uncontaminated by beast mode. Someone like me.
Wouldn't it be better for it to be someone who has never had a beast mode to begin with?
Yes.
Because like if that's your logic, if that's your line of thinking, like
your memories are tainted by your beast mode memories.
Exactly. Yeah, like sure, Tank Knox, like he has no organic component to his outer shell, but like his spark like still had a beast mode for presumably several years. Because like
yeah, they've been on the planet years.
Yeah, this show kind of made it seem like they were on planet Energon for a long time.
Yeah. Or at least when they came back, it was a different time. So to the perception of Cybertron, they were gone.
Right, because of transwarp stuff.
Yeah, transwarp fuckery.
Yeah.
And so Guilty Spark is like, hey, I hear you, but I'm only loyal to Megatron.
Yeah, my programming dictates that I am loyal only to Megatron. And
well, we can fix that.
Tank Knox is like, well, no problem. I got a 6-pack of Budweiser right over there, and I've got the will to make shit happen. So
buckle up
and grab one of them beers yourself if you want, because you're going to need it, motherfucker.
Have a sit on Uncle Ryan Ox's lap, and let me tell you why I should be a better leader. Definitely doesn't torturously reprogram them whatsoever. They have a hearty talk. Guilty Spark's like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
More flying around with Nightscream.
There's
reached a dead end.
There's a bit where like Nightscream mentions something about like only watching out for number one.
That's the way it should be.
And then quite comically, and this was very predictable because it was a close-up shot of his face, and then his face like goes to like gasping, like he crashes into a wall.
And right after that, he turns and hears Jetstream make some quip. And the show makes an effort of showing you that he moves all of his bangs from like one side of his face to the other.
Yeah, it sure does.
Emo kids do that. As somebody who has long hair and plays with the hair a lot, I couldn't imagine being emo where my hair blocking my face is part of my identity. But I'm sure the kids watching this enjoyed it. They're like, I do that too, man.
I mean, were emo kids though watching this show?
Not
in
really.
1999?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. So
they're trying to be hip, man.
Okay, so let me say, anytime older people try to be hip, and I say this as someone in my like who is almost 37 at
We
this
include
point.
ourselves
We
in
include
this.
ourselves with this. Older people trying to be hip is always cringy. It's always cringy.
Yeah.
It never works.
Right when you hit 30 is when you start hit or miss. By mid 30s, you should stop.
Yeah, and just settle into the fact that, yeah, the like it's not your generation's world anymore.
Yeah. What's that one comic from The Simpsons? It's like, I used to be young. I used to be with it, right?
Okay.
I used to be with it, but they changed what it was. Now what I'm with isn't it, and what it is seems weird and scary to me, and it'll happen to you.
The tale
And,
it is quite literally a tale as old as time.
yeah. And I think in that episode it was a flashback to when Homer and Barney were like late teens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You
They're
know
like,
what? I haven't watched a ton of The Simpsons, and like I've gone on record before of not being a big fan of the show. I swear I've actually seen that episode.
oh, absolutely. Especially if you watched it is that a 90s episode? Who knows? I'm not going to look it up. But yeah,
Who cares?
it's one of those ones you probably definitely seen. Or you're subconsciously familiar with the meme. It pops up every now and then.
No, I swear I've seen that episode.
You must have. I have.
So the other Maximals show up, and they're all like, "Not so fast!" Jetstorm, and Jetstorm's like, "Ah, Maximals!" Or whatever. I don't know.
Whatever,
Anyway,
they fight.
they fight. Jetstorm
And the Maximals win.
and Thrust get crushed under a rock. This
Yeah,
is like
literally. And
okay, what kind of maneuver is this? Because like crushing people under rocks was a thing that happened a lot in Beast Wars. But hiding behind a rock was the maximal maneuver. Hiding behind a rock and shooting was the Predacon maneuver.
oh, okay.
So what are we going to dub this?
You'd think we would have on Beast Wars when we were
You'd
covering
think,
it.
yeah.
Because holy lord, you'd think shooting a gun at your target directly would do the most damage. Nay. Shooting the gun at strategically located pillars of rock and causing that rock to fall on them, maximum damage. And boy, that happens, I want to say dozens of times.
Yeah, totally.
They're bringing it back.
And logistically, that just like that I think that probably stems from that being cheaper to animate, like a cheaper way to resolve a fight scene.
It's more dramatic than just getting shot, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, and it's also like you can bring a rock down, you can animate a rock falling down, and then just show like the rock landing on the character.
It's cartoonic way of ending a resolution in less violence. I
think honestly, I think it comes down to budget.
Well, it's more work to animate rocks falling than it is to just animate them shooting, because they're shooting anyway, right? They're shooting all the time.
Yeah, but then you have to change the model to show battle damage.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
you have to
actually getting hurt.
Yeah, you have to alter the character model to show battle damage. You need to change the textures to actually show like scorch marks.
They did that a lot on Beast Wars.
They did, yeah.
But just make them go oof and explode and fall on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is the rock? The rocks fall, you take massive damage. I don't know what to call it.
Let's call it the budget maneuver.
Rocky returns.
From Reboot. Yeah.
Yeah. And how this scene is resolved with an even bigger rock falling. Sounds like you're making this up. Jetstorm is like, oh no, we've been defeated. Take this. Yeah, yeah. And he shoots. Cheetor dodges, but it hits like a giant part of the cavern, and that falls, and Cheetor uses his sonic speed to like save Black Arachne, who was trying to have a moment with Thrust again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always gets cut short. So Giant Rock, they got away.
Yeah, so Giant Rock, this unearths a huge ass bat skeleton. Like fossilized bat skeleton in the rock.
It's revealed, we get a quick little shot of Tank Knox talking to Guilty Spark and being like, now, your programming's all done. How do you feel now that you sat down and had a conversation with Uncle Rhinox?
Oh,
and he's like, oh, you're right. I do see things your way. Megatron is a cunt.
Yeah, remember, you still gotta buy him beers every now and then and pretend he's he's your best buddy, but deep down, me and you, we're going steady. Yeehaw.
And then speaking of which, Guilty Spark kind of puts his head down, and Tank Knox like puts out a finger, and like under, it's just a drone, but like its face or chin area, and like gingerly lifts it up. And I'm like, what's with all these weird romantic scenes with the drone? What's going on here? I just wanted to point that scene out. That's all.
Fair.
But yeah, the giant bat.
A giant bat skeleton.
Giant. They act like it's a normal bat, but it's bigger than Nightwing. That is terrifying.
Right?
And I'm like, I don't want to see whatever that was. If it's half as scary as Nightscream. But yeah, they come to the conclusion
that is the skeleton of Batman villain Man-Bat.
Man-Bat. A bat who was bitten by a radioactive man. I don't know Man-Bat's story, but I'm aware of Man-Bat. That scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. I saw a cover of Man-Bat, and
I first learned about it. He I think it was in the first season of Batman the Animated Series. He was a he was a villain in one episode.
It scared me, man.
I think he was a scientist who like turned himself into a bat, and then he was flying around like attacking people, and then people thought it was Batman doing it. So, but Commissioner Gordon, of course, was like, "No, not my Batman.
Batman is man. This is a giant bat."
Yeah.
So they come to the conclusion that this is where the bat fossil, this is where they got the bat DNA.
Yeah.
And why Nightscream was able to find a beast mode.
Yeah. I mean,
and that's how he resisted the Megatron's virus.
Yeah, and he starts like getting all weird, being like, "Oh, well, why did I survive? Like, the only reason why me? He's got survivor's guilt. He's like
15 seconds ago you weren't."
Yeah, he's like, yeah, the only reason I was able to survive and my DNA sequencer was able to pick up on this bat was because I ran and hid instead of like
a bitch.
Like a bitch, instead of like trying to help people. Like, why did I live? No. And then Jetstorm pops up and is like, yeah, that's because you're a fucking pussy, Bat Boy.
And Thrust is like, 10-4, I agree with that.
And so
he's like, what did you call me? And he emo like Linkin Park screams.
Yeah, he lets out like a supersonic scream that makes an even bigger rock fall on them.
Wait, does it?
Oh no,
No,
he blows a
rocks
hole.
fall.
Rocks fall, but he blows a hole in the
He
wall.
blows apart the fossil, and there's a cave behind the wall where the fossil was.
Yeah, and it blows Knights or
He
Jetstorm and
buries.
Thrust.
Yeah, he buries them in rocks. A lot of rock. For the longest time, no rocks fall on beast machines, and then they were like, "Fuck it, let's make like 5 scenes where rocks fall and defeat people."
Yeah.
No more killing, Dad. And Primal's like, "I'm not your dad, but yeah, tell me about it." And
Tell me, let me help.
and they walk into the cave, and there's like whale bones. There's a bunch of bones. And I love this. Nightscream is like, "There's tons of bones down here. Thousands." And I'm like,
Do you know what that means?
what cave are you looking at? Because I'm looking at a cave and I'm not seeing thousands of different creatures. I'm seeing like a whale or something and not much else going on.
Suspension of disbelief, my friend.
Let's pretend there's thousands of creatures, and this is like a.
And I like how
Graveyard.
Gary Primal like picks up a. So Nightscream is like, "Do you know what this means?" And Gary Primal picks up a skull and goes all Hamlet with it. He's like holding it in his hand,
And he's like, "It means there used to be life here."
"It means, alas, poor Cybertron. I knew him." Nightscream. But yeah, he's
Nightscream
like,
smacks it out of his hand, and he's like, "Fuck you! You're not my real dad."
yeah, he's like, yeah, it means that there used to be organic life on Cybertron. That is a pretty big revelation. But then Nightscream just like smacks it away, and he's like, "No, it means that I could have saved people if I just led them down here."
And then Primal smacks him, and he's like, "Shut the fuck up, kid." Stop it. But in a way,
there's bigger implications here than just your survivor's guilt, you fucking nance.
cunt. But they kind of have a moment here where Primal helps himself as well as Nightscream. He's like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I get it. I blame myself for what happened to Cybertron, and I had to live with that guilt a lot. But we're alive now, and we have the power to change things. So what happened is less important than what we can do."
Yeah. Yeah, and he's like, everything happens for a reason. I believe the Oracle, all of this happened because the Oracle wanted us to restore organic life to Cybertron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's fucking wild. And indeed, he's got the seed, one of those big ass fucking seeds from the tree. And then Nightscream says,
the seeds of the future lie buried in the past.
"Yep." And they fucking toss the seed in slow motion into the pit of bones. And I'm like, hold up. The seeds of the future lie buried in the past.
The seeds of the future, he throws a literal seed, lie buried in the past. So he throws a literal seed into a cavern full of fossils from a millennia ago.
Possibly many. Yeah.
So, like I said earlier, like I thought that like, because Gary's been like spouting off about that like since like the second episode.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I thought this was going to be like metaphorical, or like
that they would need to discover the secrets behind it, and seeds means hope. But fuck us. I guess it means a literal seed, and then you gotta bury it in the fucking past, which is a bunch of bones.
Yeah, it is.
I can't get over that.
I'm
That is the most literal that could have possibly been.
This show, for a show that's actually been fairly dark and mature for a kids show, that is like some 5-year-old shit. That is like something written so a 5-year-old can understand it. And you know what? I'm not here for it.
A little disappointed.
So we cut
I was
back.
hoping that there would be that was a greater message.
Yeah.
Right? Finding out how to restore life, finding out what happened to the life. Seeds of the future is what they're fighting for. I'd rather, I mean, and you could say that that's both, right? That's how I resolve it. It's literal in the sense that they toss a fucking seed so that a tree regrows, but it's also metaphorical in that the maximals are the seeds, I guess.
I don't know. Anyway, we cut back to the Megadome, and we hear an audio cue of Megatron like going ape shit and like some machinery flying away.
Yeah.
And so the latest beast mode purge did not work. And
did not.
And Megatron's like, what happened? And Guilty Spark's like, yeah, boss, didn't work.
Don't know what to tell you, man.
And Megatron's like, what? And Guilty Spark is like, yeah, so I followed all the instructions. I followed all the directions on the back of the box, you know, and like I flipped through the instructions and, you know, followed the recipe like to the letter, like right down to the exact measurements, and didn't work. Don't know what to tell you.
I gave it the old maximal try, but
I gave it the old Viacon try, but yeah, it didn't work. And Megatron's like, once again, what? And Guilty Spark is like, yeah, the only thing I can see, you know, is that deep down, you on a subconscious level, you kind of like having a beast mode. And Megatron's like, be
there's
gone.
just a slow pan, yeah, of it at his face as he narrows his eyes, and he's like, be gone. And I'm like, huh. I would have thought he would have smashed him.
But Megatron is like, maybe I did like being a T-Rex after all. Yes.
And a dragon that shoots fire and ice is pretty fucking cool.
And remember that time when I was a Transmetal with roller skates and thruster jets on my hips? Those
that
were
was
good.
Fucking rad. I was the fastest Predacon on the world.
I was doing sick tricks in half turn.
Half pipes.
Half pipes. There we go. I was like half bowl, half turn.
Pipe.
No, that's not right. Half pipes.
Yeah, he was doing sick tricks. Remember that time he met to discuss a ceasefire? Who did he meet with?
He met with Optimus.
But that was before.
That was before the Transmetal stuff.
Yeah, and we were like, wait, how did he get off the mountain?
Yeah, because they were on the top of a mountain peak, and so like Optimus flew up there, yeah. And then we're like, so how did old Megs get up there and then get down?
Yeah, because the camera follows Primal flying there, meeting him, they talk, and then he flies away.
Right.
And I'm like, how'd he get up there? I've always had rollerblades. I just didn't feel fancy enough to use them.
So Guilty Spark fucks off and then goes outside and
like, Windows.
Yeah, he pulls out like a portable iPad thing, and which I'm like, is that really necessary? Like, shouldn't you be able to just do like radio communication from your head?
It's more dramatic.
Yeah.
But yeah, so technically you should just radio him.
So he FaceTimes Tank Knox and is like listen, boss, the latest beast mode purge failed under your direction. And Tank Knox is like, well, good job, little buddy. You know what? Got my own thing going on here right now. And it cuts to where Tank Knox is, and he's at the Oracle. He's like
at the Stargate where
yep.
the Maximals met the Oracle. Yeah.
He's like, yeah, so that information you gave me checked out, good buddy. Here I am down at the old truck stop down at the planet's core, and I'm about to fuel up and cause a ruckus.
Yeah.
If you want to join me, make sure you bring it at least.
Bring the car around.
Bring the car around and at least.
Bring the truck around.
Better pick up some beer when you're on your way down here, and I don't think a six-pack's gonna cut it this time, little man. I think we're gonna need to go for a two.
This is some trippy. We're going for a trip.
gonna need a 2-4 for this trip.
Yeah, I have no idea where the show's going, and I mean that in a good way. Fucking evil Rhinox finds the Oracle. What? There's some really cool and trippy images on the surface of the Stargate where the Oracle is.
Yeah.
If you like pause and like look at the frames, there's interesting things.
Like what?
Like one of the frames looks like a golden disc.
Uh-oh.
And so I'm like, wait, they never kind of explained where that other golden disc. How many golden discs were there? 2?
2. There was the one from Earth,
and they had one
from the Voyager satellite, and then there was one that the alien disc.
Yeah, and what if it was an Oracle disc?
Maybe.
Or maybe I just hate the Vok so much that I want to forget about them.
Well, speaking of forgetting about things, that has been episode 10 of Beast Machines. Here on Too Much Energon, we rate episodes of Beast Wars, Beast Machines, comic books, and the Japanese Beast Wars, and whatever the hell we decide to talk about on any given week on the Too Much Energon scale. It ranges from not enough Energon to a sufficient amount of Energon to too much Energon. It's basically bad, okay, good. Cal, what are you rating Survivor on the Too Much Energon scale?
So even though a lot happens and a lot is revealed that I am excited for, and there we get some answers instead of just questions. So much of it was just rocks falling and Nightscream being emo. But a lot is revealed. A lot of like, Tank Knox is planning a coup. Like, that's cool. Oh, he found the Oracle. That's cool. Oh, the Maximals found like a bunch of fucking fossils. That's cool. But I can't stand a whole episode where Nightscream is being emo, man. I can't.
Right.
So it gets a sufficient amount of Energon.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo your sentiments there. We learn a lot in this episode,
right?
Like we get actual evidence that there were organic life on Cybertron in the past. Giant fucking bats, apparently.
Horrifying.
Yeah, the fact that no one acknowledges that is kind of weird to me. But I like the stuff with Tank Knox and the diagnostic drone.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Like I said, cool things happen.
Cool things happen in the episode, but overall, the episode was just kind of, I don't know. I was engaged with various plot points that came up. I wasn't engaged with the episode as a whole.
Plot A was Nightscream being emo.
Too much Nightscream.
Too much Nightscream.
There's the rating for this episode. Too much Nightscream, which is basically a no Energon. No, I think I'm gonna give it just a middle of the road sufficient amount of Energon.
Yeah, it's not like it's terrible, but like I don't care about Nightscream enough to have a whole episode about him.
Yeah. And also, he's like, he spends the entire episode being like, yeah, all me, all on my own. And then immediately, like, he's
right
like,
at the end.
yeah,
Like that.
right at the end, snap of a finger, he's like, oh, I should have been there and helped people.
No. And I'm like, where was the in-between motions? You went from fuck the world. I love being on my own. And then like some rocks fall, you see a skeleton, and you have an emotional breakthrough.
Yeah, he goes from being like lone wolf to survivor guilt in like the span of mere seconds. And it's just it's kind of
the horrifying gigantic bat skeleton that did it for him.
Yeah. So yeah, sufficient amount of Energon for me.
It feels like a forced character arc.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and an unnecessary one too.
They have done in this show before. They've done it in Beast Wars as well. It's like,
yeah,
it's like we're going to, we have a character arc that we want to have. We want a character to get to this certain point, and we're not going to bother doing the work to get there. We're just going to be like, well, this is where they are now.
We're going to emphasize how bad they are at the beginning of the episode to the point where they're actually much worse than they actually are, just so that the arc that they complete in this episode makes them even more likable. Yeah. Doesn't work on me. Maybe kid me, not adult me.
Yeah.
And all right. That does it, folks.
So that was episode 61 of Too Much Energon. Best way to support the show is Patreon. Go to patreon.com/lazorcomb, LAZORCOMB. There's a whole bunch of tiers, but starting at the $5 and up tier, you get hours every week of bonus preamble audio from this and all the various podcasts that we do, where we just kind of shoot the shit on mic for however long, talking about life, the universe, and everything.
Yeah.
There's a $10 tier that gets you our monthly Too Much Galavar show, where we talk about the IDW 2021 Beast Wars comic book. There's going to be a new episode of that very soon, so keep an eye out for that. We also gets you our weekly news program, Lasercomb Tonight, and there are higher tiers and yada yada yada. So patreon.com/lasercomb. Social media. Facebook.com/too-much-energon for this show in particular, or Facebook.com/lasercomb, LAZORCOMB. It's kind of the central hub for this and all of the other shows that we do.
We got shows. Christopher's got shows.
Yeah, we have many shows. Many podcasts.
Sometimes Christopher isn't even in them.
Sometimes, yes, actually. Speaking of shows that Christopher is in, though, I want to give a special plug to a fairly new show that me and Cal have launched called the Lasercomb Podcast. It is a show where we pick a show at random. I've been doing Twitter polls a lot lately. You can also pick whatever show that we talk about by going to Patreon and becoming a patron. But basically, it's like a classic TV show where we look up how many episodes of it aired, and then we put that number through a random number generator, and then whatever the number generator gives us, we go and watch that episode and review it, much in a similar format to that we do on this show. But it doesn't matter if we've seen the show before or not.
Yeah.
It's completely random. And in fact, the latest episode, Lasercomb Podcast number 6, we had a very special guest on the show, Kate Rambo, and we talked about one of her favorite shows, Strangers with Candy, a show neither me nor Cal had seen.
Never even heard of it.
So we went into it very cold. Yeah, it was a fun one. So go check that out. Check out the Lasercomb Podcast. That one's gonna be it's a fun one, and I think that one's going to be going on for a while too.
Yeah, it's fun, and yeah, we just choose a show that has to have been finished. It can be live action, it can be animated, well, whatever, and then in a random episode. So if it's a show that has 27 seasons, so be it.
Yeah, so be it.
Well, we did Mighty Morphin, and that had a lot of episodes.
Yeah, and I think we ended up with like episode 9
like
or something.
Episode
like
7 or 11 or like something very early on.
Yeah. So yeah, fun show. Go check that out. I think I'll put a link to it in the description for this video because I wanna plug that show. I want to get more. I want to grow the audience for that show. So the Lasercomb podcast. Go check it out. Twitter. If you want to follow us on Twitter, I put up Twitter polls to the aforementioned Lasercomb podcast. I put up Twitter polls a lot of the time to let my Twitter followers choose what show we're going to be talking about on a week-to-week basis.
Come and boost Mummies Alive. That one guy, he's by himself. He needs other people to. I don't know what that show is, but come and throw up votes at it.
So go follow me I am at Lasercomb, once again spelled LAZORCOMB. You can also follow the show proper at Too Much Energon. That's mostly Transformers picks and like the various Transformers that I buy, and Transformers news, and like links to new episodes of the show. It's very Transformers centric. So at Too Much Energon. Cal, you are at Neo_Cal with a K, yes?
I am. You can follow me. I post pictures of plants that look like dinosaurs. And nothing else.
And nothing else. The occasional duck photo.
Oh, I forgot. Ducks. Plants that look like dinosaurs, and sometimes I reshare episodes of the stuff that we're that we record
once in a while. So yeah, go and follow any and all of us on Twitter, and another way you can support the show is whatever you're listening to and or watching this on. Give it a like, give it a subscribe, give it a 5-star rating. Anything helps us out with discoverability, and best of all, if you have a friend who really likes Beast Wars and likes podcasts, tell them about Too Much Energon.
Say, hey man, these guys have so much time. If you like Beast Wars and you have 2 hours an episode for it, tune into these guys.
Yeah.
If you're gonna spew into this.
Yeah, if you want to hear two Canadian dudes in their mid to late 30s talk about a cartoon from 25 years ago, then boy howdy do we have the show for you.
It's true. Yeah. Unique, one of a kind.
We will be back next week with the 11th episode of Beast Machines, The Key.
Dun dun.
The key in that title is referring to something very specific, and being that I know some things about Transformers, I know what it's in reference to.
I don't. Oh, another thing I don't know. Hello, if you're new. I haven't seen any of this, so it's kind of going in with like fresh eyes. It's all new to me, and it's exciting.
Well, the key may very well be in reference to something from G1.
Megatron turns into a key gun. I knew it.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, that'll be episode 62 of Too Much Energon. Next week, same bat time, same bat channel. That's actually kind of a relevant reference for this week's episode.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've been one of your hosts, Christopher Siege.
And I'm NeoCal.
And until next week, I am transformed.
Pass me another beer. We're going in.
Bought the pillow, boy. We're going in dry. Yeehaw. Bye-bye.